Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm April Knight, in for Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, America is still reeling from last weekend's shooting in Orlando that claimed the lives of 49 people at a gay nightclub. The massacre is being felt all around the world, and certainly here in the Virgin Islands. While both secular and religious groups have added anti-gay messages of hate, many Virgin Islanders rallied around the LGBT community that are still largely afraid to be fully out in the open. Here's more. Rabbi Mike Harvey made it clear the Hebrew congregation of St. Thomas stands firmly with the LGBT community.
The Hebrew congregation of St. Thomas is a member of the Union for Reform Judaism. We associate with the Reform movement. The Reform movement of Judaism has been an ally of the LGBT community since 1965. We have been essential in terms of trying to provide equal rights for the LGBT community.
Rabbi Harvey got wind of the Orlando shooting from the news and was extremely disturbed.
Right away, I thought to myself, we as a community need to do something and step forward.
The congregation held a well-attended LGBT Pride service vigil on Friday, opening their doors to the LGBT community and their supporters. He was not the only one. SOS Coffee and Bar on St. Thomas held a fundraiser on Saturday for the victims and their families. Augustine Holder, a father and a supporter of LGBT rights, says this issue resonates deeply in the Virgin Islands.
Any act of violence against any group, any person is horrible, and I think we got to live for the betterment of humanity. And, I think, what we can do here is just promote peace and love.
Rabbi Harvey also said aside from the focus on LGBT rights, there should also be conversation on gun violence and the community's perception of their Muslim brothers and sisters.
To help people realize and educate that Omar Mateen does not represent Islam, to know that the LGBT community, this is one of many attacks upon them. And to remind people that this is one of so many mass shootings that have happened. So in all of these sections and all of these aspects, it was incredibly upsetting and incredibly disturbing.
Meanwhile, Congress failed to pass gun control legislation after the rampage at Sandy Hook in Newtown and after San Bernardino. Now, in the wake of the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history in Orlando, the Senate is set to take up gun control measures again late Monday. Here's Kim Hutcherson.
After Senate Democrats forced the issue of gun control to the floor with their 14-hour filibuster, the Senate will vote Monday on 4 gun control measures. All are amendments to a Justice Department spending bill. The Grassley Amendment focuses on mental health considerations included in the national background check system. The Murphy Amendment requires background checks for sales at gun shows and over the Internet. The Republican-backed Cornyn Amendment requires law enforcement notification if someone on a watch list tries to buy a gun from a licensed dealer, and a 3-day delay to check for terrorist connections. The Democrat-backed Feinstein Amendment blocks gun sales to anyone on the no-fly list and to those suspected of being likely to engage in terrorism. The NRA's Wayne LaPierre told CBS Face the Nation that new legislation won't stop people who aren't afraid to break the law.
They don't care about the law. These bad guys we're facing, they don't say, oh gosh, they passed a law. Oh gosh, I don't think I can do it.
But New York Senator Chuck Schumer says the time for reform has come.
You're a law-abiding American. You have nothing to fear. We need to pass these laws. It's a new America.
I'm Kim Hutcherson reporting.
The votes are expected to take place late in the afternoon. Political experts say it's unlikely that none of these measures will pass, but we will keep you updated. As promised on Friday, Governor Kenneth Mapp has submitted what he calls the Speedy Trial Act to the Senate. According to the governor, the bill is meant to strike a balance between protecting the rights of those who are charged with criminal offenses and holding the judicial branch accountable for the effective and efficient administration of justice.
The government of the Virgin Islands is spending huge monetary resources to house, to feed, and to provide medical service for detainees while they await trial. This cannot continue. In my conversations with Judge Harold Willocks, I have advised him that I am making this change and looking forward to his new leadership at the court to ensure that the docket of the court and the judges of the court perform in a more timely manner and move the administration of justice forward.
In police reports, we've gotten notice that the VI Police Department early Monday morning around 5:44 a.m., the 911 center received a call of a man down in the area of the 22 high-rise building. Last weekend, Sunday afternoon, this was also the area where the body of an unresponsive black male was found. Here's Glenn Drake of the VIPD with more details on Monday's discovery.
Responding officers made contact with an unresponsive black male, later positively identified by next of kin as 42-year-old Devon Freeman Sr. of 22 high-rise building. Mr. Devon Freeman was pronounced dead on the scene by responding emergency medical technicians. This case is presently under investigation by the Homicide Task Force. Any person having information regarding this incident are asked to contact the task force at 340-774-2211, or you can also call 911 or Crime Stoppers VI at 1-800-222-TIPS.
An 80-year-old man was found dead in Yacht Haven Grand on Sunday night a little after 10 p.m. The man, later identified by next of kin as Manfred Dietrich of Hassel Island, was found and taken from the water at Yacht Haven. When police came, he was already unresponsive, lying face up on the dinghy dock. The body was taken to the morgue at Schneider Hospital. There were no signs of foul play according to police, but they are still investigating. Call 911 if you have any information. Also, police are asking for your help in locating this man. Take a look at the screen. His name is Nathaniel Thomas Jr. and is wanted for reckless endangerment first degree in an incident that occurred in the vicinity of Gas for Less on St. Croix on May 15th. Thomas, 27 years of age, is 5 feet tall, 5 feet 8 inches tall, 130 pounds, has fair complexion, brown locks, hazel eyes. He has a tattoo of the word respect on the back of his left hand and the word loyalty on the back of his right hand. Call 911 if you see this man. Meanwhile, the St. Croix Retirees, Inc. is meeting tomorrow, Tuesday, and they're inviting everyone, not just retirees, everyone who's putting money into the government employees' retirement system. The meeting will be held in the Cast Iron Pot restaurant in La Grande Princess, and their focus is the GRS loan program. STX retirees officials have said they're backing the decision of the GRS board not to reinstate the loan program, in spite of recent legislation mandating them to.
We do need the support and the understanding of the retirees and indeed the active workers, and to get a clear understanding as to what's happening with the money, what it's going to mean if loans continue, what it's going to mean if loans don't continue. Those are the sort of issues we really want to make sure that we discuss those, and that there is some understanding, there is some common ground as far as that is concerned.
Turning our attention overseas, the food crisis worsens every day in Venezuela, with many residents looting stores just to get access to food. Now, let's be clear, this is not even about having money to buy food. The crisis has reached a point where there is no more food to buy. Delivery trucks are under constant attack, and the nation's food is now transported under armed guard. The police fire rubber bullets at desperate mobs storming grocery stores, pharmacies, and butcher shops. A 4-year-old girl was shot to death as street gangs fought over food. A major shakeup in the Donald Trump campaign, turning our attention to the mainland. Corey Lewandowski is no longer his campaign manager. In March, Lewandowski made news after Breitbart reporter Michelle Fields accused him of grabbing and bruising her after a news conference. Trump accused her of making up the story, and Lewandowski tweeted she was totally delusional, and that's a direct quote. He was later charged with simple battery, but Palm Beach County's Attorney General decided not to prosecute. The decision to fire Lewandowski was made swiftly in a Monday morning weekly meeting with Trump's family members. A Trump advisor said falling poll numbers and pressure from many in Trump's inner circle prompted the decision to let Lewandowski go. His abrupt departure is the Trump campaign's most significant staff change to date. Meanwhile, on the Clinton side of the campaign, they're definitely celebrating, but not necessarily about the elections. Hillary Clinton's daughter, Chelsea, has just given birth to her second child, a baby boy named Aiden. Keeping an eye on the economy, here's a look at the stock exchange with our Stock Market Watch. As you can see there, everything up. The Dow 129, NASDAQ 36, S&P 12. Coming up, we'll have so much more for you right here on News 2. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The minimum wage in the Virgin Islands is set to increase starting tomorrow, Tuesday. The minimum wage will be $8.35 an hour for most VI workers. The new law, however, does not include restaurant employees and tourist services. The law says such employees who receive tips must be paid not less than 40% of the minimum wage. By next year, June 2017, the minimum wage is set to jump to $9.50 per hour, and finally on June 1st, 2018, to $10.50 per hour. Delegate to Congress Stacey Plaskett asked scathing questions of National Park Service Director Jonathan Jarvis. That happened last week. Plaskett is concerned that in a situation like on St. John, where the island is mostly national park, the National Park Service is not as enthusiastic in hiring local employees.
How do you, to the extent feasible, employ individuals and direct them to develop, maintain, and administer the Virgin Islands National Park if individuals that are from the Virgin Islands who are not part of the closed national park system can't apply for employment within the national parks?
Fortunately, Congress has given us a couple of new hiring authorities most recently that give us a much greater ability to do direct hire at the local level into permanent employment.
Well, the weekend bore witness to two of the largest graduations on St. Thomas. On Saturday, Ivana Eudorican High School students, some 188 of them, claimed their diplomas proudly with their supporters cheering from the bleachers. That ceremony happened at the Ken Auditorium, which was awash in gold. The school accumulated a total of $4.1 million in scholarships and grants. The valedictorian was Micaiah Bully, who was accepted into the dual enrollment program at the University of the Virgin Islands. He'll be studying under UVI's Boston University Partner Program, studying 3 years in UVI and then the last 2 years in Boston. Salutatorian Sherquan Henry will be majoring in political science and management, also at UVI. Governor Kenneth Mapp was at the ceremony and gave brief remarks. Meanwhile, some 243 students graduated Sunday from Charlotte Amalie High School during their 86th annual commencement ceremony. They're the largest graduating class on St. Thomas this year. Some 104 of the class graduated with honors. Kara Smith was the salutatorian. She will be attending Michigan State University to study electrical engineering. She said she hopes to be in the aviation industry and help build airplanes. The top honors went to Asel Mustafa, who's valedictorian. She'll be attending Lincoln University to study biochemistry. She wants to become an ER physician. The CAHS class of 2016 accumulated a total of $2.45 million in scholarships and grants. Some 170 of them are attending college. Congratulations to all the graduates. Well, Claudio Marco Elementary School, Joseph Sibley Elementary, and Jane E. Tuitt also held commencement ceremonies today, Monday. We'll have highlights for you in tomorrow's newscast. Meanwhile, here are other graduations coming up this week. On Tuesday, June 21st, E. Benjamin Oliver will be holding commencement ceremonies at 9 p.m. in their amphitheater. Gladys Abraham's commencement is at 9 a.m. at their cafeteria. Joseph Gomez Elementary at 9 a.m. also at their cafeteria. Lockhart Elementary is at 1:30 p.m., also at their cafeteria. Alla Muller is at 9 a.m. at the Adelita Cancrine Auditorium, and Yvonne Bowski at 9 a.m. at their cafeteria. On June 22nd, Wednesday, Leonard Dober is holding its commencement ceremonies at 9 a.m. in their courtyard. Well, be sure to stick around. News 2 weather is coming up next.